All right.
Oh.
So
Ooh.
I'm guessing they're meaning metaphorically the hunter exam is still going? Like, testing their mettle as hunters and all that stuff? Like, the real test has just begun? But if they mean, no, you guys aren't actually hunters yet, and this next bit is going to, like, determine if you become, like, real
Right,
hunters.
they have the cards.
Right.
So what could he mean if it's not metaphorical? And it's not
that there's basically a super hunter like stamp they can get on their cards or something like that. That basically is like, okay, no, you're a legit hunter, or okay, here's what I could see it being. Mm-hmm. They're hunters now, but they still need to be trained to like be actual hunters, like for real.
So they're still getting evaluated.
So they're still getting evaluated. So what I'm guessing is that they are being watched by maybe some examiners or other hunters to basically see who wants to take on who and train them maybe.
That makes sense a lot.
That's what I could see.
Yeah, what I was thinking was very similar to that. Was something along the lines of they are still getting evaluated. They're still getting overlooked. Like basically not overlooked. They're still getting
examined.
They're still watched.
Yeah.
So the Hunter Association or whatever has enough power behind it to be able to give these cards out.
Right.
And to be able to have that much power means they are probably one of the most powerful factions in the world.
Absolutely.
Like one of, if not the most powerful faction.
And they did do a lot of, they did spend a lot of time basically introducing the fact that even though Gon started in this sort of little town island in the middle of nowhere, there's actually quite a bit of technology in this world with cars and the internet and stuff like that, even though the Hunter Association still goes around on a Zeppelin.
Stylistic, Miyazaki callbacks.
I was going to say Hellsing, but yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Hellsing's way newer, but anyways.
But
so what could be this whole thing with Gon's dad? So
right.
I don't know how last names work, but I'm not going to assume that Gon's last name is Freaks or whatever.
Yeah.
This guy having this whole multi-layered security thing, which you were like, totally called it. He's locked behind a layer of firewalls and stuff. What if he's not just a straight up like antagonist?
Okay.
But he's someone that is actively trying to do something Hohenheim style.
That's actually kind of what I was thinking.
And he's getting easily kind of slotted into that, very high potential villain role.
Right.
When actually he's just a third party person doing something that's probably better for the world, but not really for individual people
But at the same time, anytime you have someone that is really interested in old ruins and stuff like that,
in a
doesn't
fantasy
matter.
Story,
it does not matter how good their intentions are. They are going to end up like summoning some, Cthulhu thing or something, doing something that has bad consequences. Like,
why?
Because
Hohenheim's doing basically the same thing.
Well, yes, but he's just also like he also happened to basically help create the
but it wasn't
the bad thing that consumed the souls of how many people?
Yes. Okay, spoiler alert. But the thing is that Hohenheim was doing that in response to the reason why Hohenheim was traveling the world at all.
Yes, right.
No one knew about him prior to that.
Yes, but he did actually help the spoiler stuff happen.
Cause and effect, Jacob. Come on. One came before the other.
Yes.
This is as a result of that kind of stuff happening.
Yes.
You were saying that anyone that explores the ruins is going to call forth Cthulhu.
Right.
No.
And granted, this guy is restoring.
This guy sounds like a great guy.
This guy sounds like a great guy, but the fact that they're mentioning ruins in a fantasy story,
it doesn't mean he's bad. It just means that he's
I'm
not
just saying
good
I am betting that those ruins are a plot point to some degree.
Yes,
and specifically Gon's dad's work is going to be important. It's not just going to be work. There's a reason that he's doing it other than just so that other people can see them in their previous splendor.
Jacob. No one's questioning that.
Yeah.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
The question is his dad going to be slated as an antagonist, a protagonist, or just a completely third-party neutral force? And I think it's going to be a completely third-party neutral force in that he won't be directly an antagonist, and he won't be really for the
Yes.
protagonist either.
Yeah. I would be kind of.
But he's not calling or summoning for some dark evil thing.
No, but doesn't mean that he couldn't have accidentally caused some stuff to happen, or that some of the stuff that he's done has, maybe helped the bad guys as well, or whatever.
Yeah. I don't think that this show has bad guys yet.
Really?
One of the things that I'm actually noticing is this show doesn't seem to have strict evil antagonists. We have people that do things that are amoral, but they're on both the good guy side and the bad guy side if we're going good guy, bad guy.
Okay.
I think that the HunterxHunter story is very vague with its line drawing of good guy, bad guy.
Sure, yeah. I don't think there's going to be...
I think it's just people that are against Gon, Killua.
Sure, or people that want to, psychopathically raise people to be killed, or things like that.
Yeah, but we don't know them yet. We haven't even been introduced into them yet.
Hisoka.
No. Oh, Hisoka? No, he's not wanting to raise Gon. He's going to observe Gon while he just grows up.
Oh, well, right, yeah, but that's what I meant. But I completely agree that I don't think they will go the route where they have some supremely dark force or whatever that's trying to consume, all.
That's
of
what
life
you said.
or
That's what Cthulhu is.
Right. I just used that as a catch-all phrase of just general bad
juju.
Mojo. Yeah, bad juju.
Yeah, I don't even think bad juju is a thing. Well, no, bad juju, yes. I would say there's going to be stuff that will be like bad energy and stuff like that. But are they going to summon the ancient evil? No. Please, I hope not.
Yeah.
I like the character-focused conflict in the story, not concept conflict.
Absolutely. If you want to know why people love Hisoka so much, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stuff later on down the road.
Right.
But
as of right now,
we've been shown an immense amount of personality for Hisoka. He does things that are not always logical, but they
very
fit.
Contradictory.
They're very contradictory, and walking contradictions make for great characters.
They make for very also intriguing characters because they don't give immediate answers. They lead to more questions,
mystery, and all that goodness.
Which is what they're doing right now. A little bit with Gon's dad, Killua's family, like Illumi. Yeah. So with that, they're leading into a whole bunch of questions.
Yes.
So that probably means they won't give immediate answers to any more than 5% of them in the next few episodes.
Yeah, even they demonstrated that even with the thing of Satotz being like, nothing, go along. Yeah. And you're like, wait, okay, so they're going to show us what it is, and then they don't until the very end of the episode.
Right.
And even then they don't give much detail, just that the Hunter exam is still going or something like that.
Right. So now I'm wondering, wait, is the Hunter exam a perpetually ongoing thing, or is there an actual end to it? Think about it this way. What if what Satotz is calling the Hunter exam in that little kind of offhand statement to Menchi and Burahara, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, anyway.
To be fair, they haven't really developed his character.
Yeah, that's true. So, with that, what if it's that hunters are constantly growing, evolving, and getting stronger and more effective and stuff, but it's now more like that test wasn't a test. That was just easy stuff. This is now actually where the test is. The test is what they were talking about, holding on to your hunter card.
Sure.
Absolutely. It's finding out what your purpose is in the world.
If you think about it, that means
that's a life, kind of.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that also, the whole thing with the holding onto the hunter card, that basically means that the actual final hunting test, not the actual tournament, but the hunting test was a direct practice for hey, you're gonna have this card that's very important. Hold on to it, and if you lose it, get it back stat.
And the equivalent value of you having yours is the equivalent of taking 3 other people's, basically.
Right. Yes.
Because you having your own is one that you can actually use, but you going and getting someone else's and then selling that one is barely a third of the value. I like that as a very cool potential connection there. I mean, definitely there's a connection there, but if there's any connection with the monetary value or just the value in general of these hunter card IDs.
And the fact that they said that they don't work for anyone other than you, but for some reason they also fetch a high price, That basically is confirming our theory of the plot point that there will be people out there that basically make a living, transferring the identity on the starport visas.
Yep.
Because otherwise,
it's a very risky, illegal process.
Exactly.
And no one wants to talk about it, but it's like this thing that happens in the backgrounds of black markets and.
Because otherwise, there would be literally no reason
areas
for people to buy it unless they wanted like a collector's item.
I think that you're right. It's the idea that it would change hands, and maybe just having one would intimidate some people. It kind of denotes power.
Sure.
Some people you could flash it and show it, and people wouldn't check it. They just go, "Oh, you're a hunter. Okay, I'll move along."
Right. Well, and maybe like only the funds work for that person, but like it's just generally like an all-access security pass. And
for a lot of other
because
things.
I didn't see a picture on there.
Nope.
So.
But it's probably got some kind of,
identity thing tied up to it or whatever.
Well, no, some kind of like maybe 2048-bit encryption into it that has an ID linked to it, because this is all electronic in postmodern.
Right. Because now they have
world.
Established that. Well, no. There were computers when they were going around in the tunnels.
But there's the internet, Jacob.
But right,
so they already have a network of
right.
computers that are, forming that. So from that standpoint, it doesn't make sense actually that they would have the card unless they wanted that to be an actual part of what it means to be a hunter.
Yes.
And that's why I think that's the lead into being it being a connection to why the hunter exam isn't maybe technically over.
Yeah, I could see that. Either that or this story was basically made so long ago back then the internet didn't mean as much as it does now.
Well, this was originally made in
the original
anime.
Series was 99, and then the manga would have been made before that. So the original internet that the creator was thinking of would have been way more limited than where it's at right now.
Right.
So
that
maybe
was when
the whole idea of
were just sending
emails was about all you could do.
You wouldn't even send really emails, Jacob. You would just send these little messages onto these boards in the early days of the internet.
Yeah, and before my time.
You could have email in there, but it was really bad.
Scary.
And it was a place in the internet where like if you advertise someone, a friend of mine was talking about this.
Oh yeah.
You would get blacklisted.
Yep, and you would get flooded with crap messages or whatever. Yeah.
To slow down your internet connection and stuff.
So that'll be interesting to see how they handle that moving forward in this show, to see if because the technology did seem to sort of grow from that early part to they finished the hunter exam and now seems to be internet and cars and all that.
Right. I think it's more applicable, and this is a more lived-in part of the world.
Right.
And also, technology moves around the world slowly.
Yes.
Technology explodes into use very quickly, but it does not travel to everywhere around the globe.
Yeah, and in an obscure on an obscure island like where Gon lived, it would then make sense for it to be a bit more
restricted.
Yeah.
Or just not present. Not as accessible.
Yeah.
So Gitterrocker / Illumi was thinking of interfering with Gon's growth because his potential is a little bit scary. So they're like, why don't we just kill him?
And I love that Hisoka stepped in for him.
Hisoka was terrifying when he did that because he didn't have that bloodlust, creepy kind of I'm gonna eat you look. He just had this thing of don't.
Yep.
Dare.
And okay, I just want to give a shout out for that because in addition to the whole walking contradiction thing and all that stuff, it's this idea of villainous virtues, where basically you're showing someone who is very much a bad guy, yet at the same time he's defending this 12-year-old from someone who could probably totally kill Gon.
And that's why I would say there are no bad guys in this world.
Sure.
You have people with very skewed world.
There's no Dios,
There are no Dio Brandos.
Right.
There are no Azulas, as far as we know.
Probably no Azulas.
Because what I'm saying is that there are no people that do evil things for the sake of being evil. There's no puppy kickers in this world so far.
Right.
Even the brother, brother thinks he was doing the right thing. Illumi, he's like, why do I have to apologize to Killua? What? He's like, I'm so confused. He doesn't look like he was trying to be like, oh, I have no idea what you mean.
Well, he's just being no. He's still very robotic, even though he's taken the pins out.
Yes, but he spoke in such a way to Killua in the previous episode that, I'm just going to hit you with the hard truth, dude.
Sure.
And it's from his very twisted perspective, but it's his perspective in a way that he believes it to be right.
Yeah.
There are no psychopaths, like, so far that are, like, true, like, psychopaths where they, like, go out of their way to, hurt children or something like that.
Sure, but I would say the true psychopaths don't.
You don't see them until it's too late.
Yeah. So, who knows? Maybe there are psychopaths in this show already and we just haven't realized it.
I think, if anything, Killua is the closest to that.
Sure.
But then
Gitaraku
and Illumi kind of is as well.
Too.
But the thing is that they didn't go around getting, like, actively, pleasuring themselves from it. If anything, Hisoka seemed to have some of that, where he had some uncontrollable desire to kill.
Right.
But he could restrain it, and he wanted to restrain it.
Yeah, and Hisoka's so, like, even though he's really twisted, he's so emotional. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really part of his charm. Like,
sure.
Like, because the idea of, like, the cold, like, super serious, like, character, I mean, Hisoka is serious, most of the time, but, like, that, it sounds cool, but when it's actually played out, they all kind of blend together.
They really do. Especially when you've seen, like, 10 of them, it's here's number 11.
Right. Which is, I would say, why someone like Hisoka has stood the test of time, even though, the original anime came out in 99 and the manga would have been however many years before that.
He does seem like a character that you could put into a show nowadays and go,
yes.
He works. On the subject of emotions, there were a lot of really intense emotions going around. But Gon in particular got really violent.
Yeah.
He broke Illumi's arm.
Right.
With just raw strength. Like, with one hand.
With one hand.
That's crunch.
And that's cool that they're doing that, because they already set up things like that with, him being able to pull people with his fishing rod, or being able to carry 3 people on his back
out the
while
tunnel.
running, while holding his breath after 5 minutes or whatever, like, or running the double marathons, stuff like that it's like, okay, a 12-year-old would not be able to do these things
in real life.
Never. But the fact that they're able to do all these things sort of just for the style and general flow of the story, that would mean that it would also kind of make sense for him to be able to just grab someone's arm and just break it. And that's terrifying, because that's fair. That seems similar to Killua.
Yes, and also it gives a level of worry to us as the viewer as to Gon seems to be a bit too emotionally led, much like Hisoka.
Right.
In that he just decided, I'm just going to not control myself because my emotions are really out of whack. So I'm going to let myself do this.
Yeah.
One of the things that I don't really subscribe to is the idea that when people have, such intense emotions of that nature, that it's like, they had no choice in the matter.
Yeah, no,
it's
that's
more of like,
that's bullcrap.
I believe in the pendulum swing, so he had like a very slight choice that he made. But what I think it is for people that have that intense kind of justice feeling of emotion, I'm right. I am like, they deserve this.
Yeah, Ed in episode 4 when he's beating on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
there's this thing where you override your current sense of what is right and wrong.
Yeah,
and Gon has shown that there's a couple like kind of triggers that basically just kind of trigger him.
Right,
and he gets triggered like not that often. The funny thing is that it's a very small list, so it's like when Killua he heard was getting essentially bullied by his older brother.
Yeah,
Gon kind of flipped out, and the greatest part about it was that we as the viewer are like, whoa, right. But Illumi / Gitaraku, no, doesn't even faze him.
And okay, so the emotionless main characters are like, just in general, like 98% of the time a problem, right?
Right.
But there are things though, like Attack on Titan, where they'll have a main character that is overly emotional. But the problem with that is that in the case of, say, Eren, he's usually showing the same emotion all the time, always dialed up to the top. And it was very intense when we would first experience it, because we were like, oh yeah, there's this horrible stuff happening. Right. But then it ends up turning into just a shtick.
Right. Or you have like 3 emotions for Eren.
Right, yeah.
And those are kind of the ones you experience at high volume or high magnitude.
Titans!
But with Gon,
they're not doing that.
It's all over the place.
Oh yeah, and I love it, because there's the times where he's happy and cheerful, but then there are the times where, you know, like something like this will happen, and he'll just get angry. And I love it because that's showing a flaw, but they're doing it in such a way that it is a dash of something new. You know, a little bit of surprise here and there, as opposed to it being something that we're just like, and this is the part where he says, I'll slaughter all the Titans, you know, because that does get old.
Right. Also, one of the other things is there's a tendency in this show for people to summon up their negative emotions for the purpose of kind of, you know, really driving a point home. And I've noticed this with Kurapika. Leorio doesn't have as much control over this.
Right.
I would say Hisoka kind of does this. Who was the other one?
Killua.
Killua is the best example of this.
Yeah.
But I'm noticing now that Gon does this. I think
Right.
I've seen it enough times where I can say Gon does this sometimes too, where they'll basically bring up their negative emotions, and it'll be like this dark aura will kind of just settle over them, and it won't be like dark and like edgy dark, but it'll feel kind of like, oh, that's not positive.
Like thematically, like not actually visually.
We'll feel it. Maybe the music will shift. There will be some kind of a hum in the background or whatever, and we'll go, oh, they're not feeling good. And I wonder if negative emotions are kind of the instigator for protagonists in particular to make mistakes.
Possibly, yeah.
So what if this whole Kukuru mountain thing is actually a mistake? They shouldn't be going here.
Sure.
That's basically what I'm leading to. My theory is that Kukuru Mountain is a mistake. It's not that Killua is not there or anything. It doesn't matter whether.
But they should not set foot in there.
But they should not go there.
Sure.
I don't think they've really thought about it. The idea,
Right.
oh, we're just going to go stroll up to the master base, the base of master assassins.
Yep, and just walk in there and say, we want our friend. Like, even if they survive, right, there's the problem that it's like, okay, Killua has, you know, experiencing all of that stuff, you know, as he grew up, definitely seemed to mold
mess him
how
up
he
a bit.
how he formed his identity and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So for someone who's not used to that, just psychologically, whatever's in there probably is not the best thing to, you know, go poking around in. And the fact that they're throwing caution to the wind because it's their friend, it's like,
it's good.
Like, that's pretty good too.
Yeah.
But
but I would think Kurapika, he would say,
Yes.
let's think about this a little bit.
Okay, let's go after him, but we need to be like prepared. Like, we need to get equipment. We need to, like, you know, be mentally.
Yeah, there's a possibility though. Kurapika ends up going there, and they're like, "Whoa! Before we actually ascend the mountain, let's prepare a little bit."
Right.
That would actually make more sense because now,
they're
story-wise,
so far away that
they can't plan or prepare for what they don't know.
Exactly.
They don't know what they don't know.
Right.
So by them going to this mountain, we get direction for the story. We get an arc, potentially, for multiple characters focused on Gon and Killua, which I'm glad.
Oh, yeah, that'll be awesome.
We get the side characters going along. We get Hisoka kind of knowing at least why he's doing this. It's more explicitly stated.
Yeah.
We get some info about Gon's dad.
Yes.
The Hunter's exam is over.
Right.
And that's maybe enough, I would say, for them to kind of close out this section of the story and move on to something else.
Yeah.
But I want to know, like, which of these connected things will really be present in this next bit of story? Will Gon's father somehow be involved in this upcoming bit? Or are we still, like, 70 episodes away? Don't tell us in the comments, but I'm asking you, like, which things, which plot points that aren't being explicitly stated to be coming next do you feel like are going to come in the same package? Like, are the Phantom Troop going to be a thing that we'll bump into? Are kind of like I'm trying to think of what are the other things.
Well, with subplots, like just
maybe the Hunter Association.
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
Training stuff.
But in general, with subplots, they you correct me if I'm wrong, but in stories, it seems like they tend to stick with a pattern of like, okay, if they're bringing this they'll bring them up at about the same pace until it comes the time to resolve it. Right, and the slower the pace, the longer off it is till it's going to be resolved.
That makes sense.
So with something like Gon's Dad, I don't think that's going to be something that's resolved or really brought up very much until much later.
Okay, so if the show right now has like 150 episodes or something,
will we actually get to Gon's Dad?
Well, no. I'm saying like,
will
we get to it like? I think we'll get to it. It's just a question of
I think we'll get to it. I would say anywhere from like
long
episode
time or in
like
a short amount of time.
60 at the absolute earliest, I would say, till like episode 100, maybe 120 if they wanted to stretch it out there.
Okay,
depends on how they do the other.
I'm doing this for me from speculative fuel. I don't want to waste my speculative energy on something that you don't think is coming anytime soon, because then you're just going to be like, well, I don't see this coming anytime soon.
Well, okay, but
until we get a lot more data, maybe.
Sure, yeah.
Because I would rather speculate more on the antagonists right now.
Okay.
And maybe potentially even the Phantom Troop.
Yeah, I could see the Phantom Troop coming back into play soon, because they haven't really mentioned them in a while.
Okay, so maybe we should wait until they do mention them.
Sure.
And then if they do, it's kind of a casual throwaway. Kurapika, what was your whole thing with the revenge thing?
Yeah.
And he's like, well... And then, we're like, here we go.
It's like, oh, by the way, Killua's whole family is part of the Phantom Troop. Or something like that, Because, I mean, we did suspect that Gitaraku and or Hisoka were part of the Phantom Troop, so...
Oh, wait.
That could be one way to do it.
That is one way to do it, but with Killua's family being it, then it gives multiple reasons for the side characters to be there as well.
And that's one of the things that I'm really excited to see whenever they do that, because a lot of the times what will happen is you'll have the main character doing their thing, and even if the side characters are given a reason to go along with the main character and do the thing, very rarely will you get to see actual contention within the group of, why should we be doing this? Why should we be working together? Really have that kind of strife. And when it happens, it can be amazing. Like the chase in Airbender.
Yeah.
But
otherwise it can just be pointless melodrama.
Or it just never happens.
Or they just get dragged along because
because
were
plot
characters, so they must be there for plot reasons. Yeah.
Right.
There was a thing that happened with that for Legend of Korra in Book 3. There's a part where Mako is effectively like booted out of the party, and he kind of votes himself out of the Team Avatar party. And there's a clever part where Korra comes up to him and is like, you should go with us on this little trip. You're a part of Team Avatar. And he's like, no, I'm not going to. I'm like, wow, that's a big deal. But the funny thing is his brother is in pure typical Bolin fashion, goes in and basically says like, what if we have this plot thing happen? And he's like, that's stupid. And Bolin does this really funny comedic scene where he's kind of tricking / manipulating his brother into going on the thing with him. And then it makes perfect sense, because then the plot thing does kick in.
Okay.
Future. You remember what part I'm talking about?
I don't.
Remember? Where's your sweet brother, Marco? Bolin?
Yes, okay.
That's an example
right.
where they were like, you don't really right now have a good reason to even want to go, so we're going to have it go like that. But then Bolin's basically going to force you to go by manipulation in a very clever plot-related way, and it works.
And things like that, even though they are... the creator might think like it's unnecessary time, because like real estate time of like, okay, what are we going to have actually be happening is very important, and something that the creators will think about a lot. Having those little bits really helps it feel more immersive.
It reinforces our belief in these characters
that
being
they actually
like
are three-dimensional and
I mean, to as much as we can.
Right. Otherwise, they tend to feel like cardboard cutouts.
Right.
Like, okay, my equipment list. I've got the
side character 1 and side character 2,
and my glow rod of destiny or whatever.
Whatever. Sounds like Luke Skywalker right there.
Right.
With a plucky animal sidekick. Why? Because it's Disney, and we need plucky animal sidekicks.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
And that's why they're animal sidekicks. That way they can just circumvent the whole problem, because they just are a pet.
Yeah. No free will.
Basically. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
All right. So that was a good episode.
I
think having an aftermath episode
absolutely
is really good. And this is kind of a funny, coincidence in that we're, about to have the aftermath episode for MHA that we're watching. So we're watching 2 aftermath episodes in a row. That's going to be kind of funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
All right, guys. Well, check out the links in the description for Patreon if you want to watch the early access videos for our next 2 Hunter x Hunter episodes. Right. And we'll see you again later. Until then, Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.